Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Olumide Macaulay. Coming up on the program, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry begins a two-day visit to Nigeria. The federal government begins rehabilitation of Oyo-Ogbomosho Road. And a kidnapped 3-year-old baby reunited with his family in Imo State. Before we get to that story on the baby that was rescued by the police later on in the program, let's begin in the northern part of the country. The U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says the fight against corruption has to be a global one. He also talked about bringing an end to religious extremism in the world. Mr. Kerry was speaking during a courtesy visit to the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar, at his palace. Mr. Kerry says extremists do not only kill people, but also turn the most vulnerable people in the society into murderers. He also lauded the efforts of the Sultan for promoting religious tolerance and understanding amongst Nigerians.
We do not have to be the prisoners of this violent extremism. It can be eliminated. No one anywhere has to live or should have to live among this evil, and it is evil. But it isn't going to disappear on its own, and that is something that His Eminence, the Sultan, understands better than anybody as he preaches tolerance and brings interfaith groups together in order to do the hard work of pushing back against extremism. It takes work, and it takes leadership, and it will require sustained effort from all of us, from regional, national, and subnational leaders, from the United Nations and other multinational institutions.
Mr. John Kerry, U.S. Secretary of State. From there to the Southwest, residents, commuters, traditional rulers, traders, and members of the Oyo State government heaved a sigh of relief as commuters plying the Oyo-Ogbomosho Road can now look forward to safer travel with the flag off of the beginning of the rehabilitation of the road said to have been abandoned for more than 30 years. The Oyo State Governor, Abiola Ajimobi, led dignitaries to the flag off in Oyo Town with high expectations of timely delivery of a job well done.
It's taken 30 years to be revisited. Now the dualization of the Oyo-Ogbomosho Road will be done to stand the test of time. That's the promise by the Senate Committee Chairman on Works, Kabiru Gayare, who was part of the delegation that flagged off the Oyo-Ogbomosho end of the road rehabilitation. Leader of the delegation is an elated Governor Ajimobi of Oyo State, who knows that a good road network is important for a buoyant economy.
So we must...
He said the road is too important to have been overlooked for 36 years, but when completed, it will be in compliance with the federal government's specification.
We should learn some lessons from this thing. What are the lessons? Lesson number one is that ensure that those that you choose to represent you are people of quality. Ensure that they have integrity. Ensure that they are patriotic. Ensure that they have the interest of the people at heart.
No point you finish your road after.
The Chairman, Senate Committee on Works, Kabiru Gayare, emphasized quality delivery, deploring the shoddy job by one of the sections. He said the rehabilitation is one of the cardinal projects of the Buhari administration.
What we want is have a good road from Kano or from Lagos to Ibadan, Ibadan to Oyo, Oyo to Ogbomosho, Ogbomosho to Ilorin. then Ilorin to Tekina to Brunungwari to Dei, and then Dei to Kano. So we want to have a good road. So this is the purpose, this is one of the aims and objectives of this administration, and therefore any contractor that fails to perform, we'll make sure we bring that contractor to book.
The project is being handled in 3 sections spanning Ibadan, Oyo-Ogbomosho, Ilorin, and is slated to cost up to 6 billion naira.
From one project to another, this time the issue of constituency projects, which has almost torn the National Assembly apart. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, was stressing the point that people should own their projects and not leave it in the hands of lawmakers. He was speaking at the 56th NBA conference in Port Harcourt, the River State capital.
The senator or the member representing the particular constituency where the Calabar road is, which is now damaged, we're making a case for that road to be resuscitated. It will qualify because it is a federal road, but certainly not a road with village, which may not be. Not all roads to villages are not federal roads, because many are not, because they are local government roads. Now, if we move from there, the question I would then ask is that even if we decided to call it constituency projects, we must make sure that they are constituency projects. They are not representative or senatorial, the senator's project. The point I'm making is that once it is nominated by either a senator or a representative, or indeed a state legislator, it must be a project that constituency owns, not the parliamentarian. Because if it was a constituency project, if as often is the case, or sometimes has been the case, the parliamentarian is not re-elected. The person elected back to that constituency must own that project. And that is not what we have found. Many projects have been left without budget because when new members are elected to that constituency, they leave that project alone and start their own.
Babatunde Fashola, Minister of Power, Works and Housing. Let's bring you news from the south-south part of the country now. The Cross River State Governor, Mr. Ben Ayade, has signed 9 bills into law, including the Homeland Safety and Security Services Bill 2016. They were signed at the Governor's office in Calabar, the state capital, where he explained that the Cross River State Homeland Safety and Security Services Bill, codenamed Operation KBM, is in response to the increasing social and security challenges of the day. The bill is aimed at providing neighborhood watch, vigilante patrol, intelligence gathering, and real-time emergency interventions.
We do recognize that Cross River State is the headquarters of tourism in Nigeria. Cross River State, therefore, is at the epicenter of what is called class lifestyle. So any distortion of the security apparatus and structure of Cross River State will send a signal that Nigeria in totality is totally unsafe. Therefore, the barometer that measures the security safety of citizens of Nigeria is measured by the peace and tranquility of Calabar. And if that is true, it is important for us to take a step ahead of even federal government to ensure that beyond the federal police that we do have, Cross River State as a government and an organ that has the responsibility to institutionalize law, provide for even further and better security of people and property.
Governor of Cross River State, Mr. Ben Ayade, you're watching news across Nigeria on Channels Television. Coming up, the Nasarawa State government responds to allegations that they've been cutting workers' salaries. They say, no, we didn't do that. We'll tell you how they said it in just a moment. Please stay with us.